1.
Welcome to ECGR 2103 Team Number 8 The Party Pigs presentation, The Making of Pig, Coding a Dice Game. Here we will explain how we took a classic dice game and made a modern version in C++ with a few unique twists. I'm Colin Evans.
I'm Logan Davis.
I'm Nick Genie.
I'm Owen Evans.
Without further ado, let's get started. So, what is Pig? Pig is a dice game where players roll the dice, originally only one dice, to reach the score limit of 100. A turn consists of the player rolling a dice. If the dice lands on 2 through 6, the player has the choice to roll again or hold. If the player rolls again, that next roll gets added to the sum of the previous. Once the player chooses to hold, that turn score is added to their total score. But if the dice lands on 1, the player loses their turn score and ends their turn. We ran into a few challenges when making our program. The first was combining the code. Some of us wrote the code or our portions of it using functions, while others used variables. This made it somewhat challenging when combining all the different game versions into one. Using and repeating functions brings us to what types of functions we used or what aspects we wanted to put within functions. And even naming functions was occasionally confusing. Loop conditions was an important one. We wanted to make sure we did not have an infinite loop when getting user input or when rolling the dice. Also important is communicating changes made. So as we continued to update the program and made new versions, it was important to communicate with our teammates what changes we had made. The next part is dealing with the random roll. We wanted to make sure that the dice was not rolling ones all the time or was always rolling doubles.
Next, we have the initial flowchart. Originally, we thought our project would consist of 2 separate dice games. On the left, we have the initial game that was explained in a previous slide, and on the right, we have 2 Dice Pig, which is a variation of the original Pig game, but with 2 dice.
In order to keep more uniformity throughout the code, the team chose to use common functions. These functions are used in every game or multiple games, so it is easier to call them each time instead of rewrite them each time. Some of the more important common functions are game list, which calls a vector that allows the user to choose what they play with .at. Roll or hold calls for the Boolean function. The user input roll equals true and returns to the ran roll function. Hold equals false and continues to the next player's turn. Ran roll calls a random number generator 1 through 6 to simulate a die, and scoreboard calls for the output of each player's name and their current total score.
So that brings us to going over the code as it is now, and we start off with our main function. The main function calls the intro function, which is basically ASCII art of a pig and the word pig. From there, that intro function asks for the amount of players that are playing, and it asks for the name of each player. From there, it calls the game list, which will output all 5 of the games that we put into this code, and game choice, which allows the players to choose the game. If the player chooses the standard game, the pig turn function is called, and from there, that's pretty much the standard game that we went over just a little bit ago, where if you roll a 2 or a 6, it's added to your turn score, and you're able to either roll again or hold. If you roll a 1, you lose your turn and your turn score. This loops for every round, and at the end of every round, the scoreboard is displayed, and this goes on until the score limit of 100 is hit.
Next, if a player chooses 2 Dice Pig, the 2 dice turn function rolls, and it's almost identical to Pig turn, except 2 random rolls are called at different times, so the seed varies. On a single 1 roll, the player's turn ends and the turn score is removed, just as in Pig. But on Snake Eyes, the player's entire score is deleted and they have to start over. The player is asked if they want to roll again or hold using the roll or hold function. Scorekeeping-wise, turn score tracks a player's score during the turn, and total score tracks the player's total score. The scoreboard function displays each player's score after a cycle of finished turns. If the players want to play Big Pig, this game uses 2 dice and rules are the same as 2 Dice Pig, except when a player rolls doubles, the roll is doubled. For example, double threes is scored as 12 points. When a player rolls snake eyes, the turn score is increased by 25. The program also has unique conditionals that identify doubles as separate from double ones and single ones as separate from double ones.
A user inputs 4 to game choice, a hog turn function is called. This game, users are able to choose how many dice they would like to roll at once. Because ran roll uses SRAN time, I gave 3-second sleep time between each roll. After each roll, the roll is added to turn score. After the final roll, turn score is added to total score, then displayed, and turn score is reset. If a 1 is rolled at any time, it resets turn score and breaks the loop. Game is won when a player's total is greater or equal to 100. Also added a cheat function that calls a loaded die 2 through 6 to be rolled if my name is misspelled as OWN because I own the game. Because a 1 can be rolled, the turn score can't be reset, and it's easier to win.
The final game mode was a custom game mode designed by the team called Pop the Pig. It works the same as standard, but with a few key differences. The number of players is chosen, and the user selects Pop the Pig at the start. However, when the function Pop the Pig is called, the winning high score is determined by the user. If the dice lands on 2 to 6 during Pop the Pig, the player has the choice to roll again or hold. If the dice lands on 1, the player loses their turn score and ends their turn. This is the same as the original pig turn function. Pop the Pig exceptions include that, in order to win, the player must roll exactly the winning score set at the beginning. If the winning score is exceeded, that player has popped the pig and loses all points. Play continues until a player rolls the exact score. The total score is displayed at the end of each round. Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed our presentation, and if you have any questions, please contact the team through the Canvas discussion board. Go ahead and play for yourself by scanning the code below or following the link. Enjoy!